if you're writing and you're like, I suck, then find another dream. That's like the whole point of my book. If you hate your own writing, this is not the job for you, because it's very solitary. We have to read our own shit over and over and over again. It's so important to have a palate cleanser. Don't read your own stuff twice in a row. Like, read your stuff, do your notes, and then step away and read something you love. Read something completely unrelated, then go back to your stuff.
Before we jump in, this conversation is with Maysoon Zayid, and it was recorded live inside of one of our classes. Maysoon is a comedian, an activist, and the author of a really interesting book, Find Another Dream. And she brings the kind of honesty that immediately wakes you up when you enter the room. This was one of those conversations that in some ways I was not in control of, and certainly she was. We talk about writing as this solitary craft and why really you have to be able to tolerate your own work long enough to revise it, make it great, and how to handle the criticism without letting it crush you. She also shares what it was like writing a memoir as a stand-up comic, why fiction can feel really like freeing that truth, and how her disability has shaped both her voice and her resilience. This is one of those conversations that's funny, that's raw, and unexpectedly wise that all of us can benefit from. She's an amazing woman, I have to tell you. Getting to spend the time, getting to learn a bit about her. She's a comedian, and in a lot of ways just has really had this interesting experience in life over the last few years. She's been able to really be at the forefront of sort of two big movements, talking about representation for more Muslim Americans in entertainment, as well as people with disabilities. And it's been interesting to sort of see. She has a TED Talk that in some ways just exploded, where 14 to 16 million people, I think, in the last couple of years have watched it, talking a lot about perspective. And I think for that, a lot of people began to really turn to her for insights about, again, sort of believing in yourself and those sorts of pieces.
I have several books. I have several books on here that I'm part of. I wrote, I'm in disability visibility, and then I have my book, Find Another Dream, and there's another book called Muslim Women Are Everything that I'm in, and I never read those either. Like, I submitted my chapter and then I was like, all right, bye. Okay, so we only have 24 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Ask me questions, and tell them what like a slick Rick baller you are. Eric got me to do this for free. And I was like, no way. I'm like, Georgetown is a fancy schmancy school, and fancy schmancy schools usually pay me 10 grand. And he was like, we're just poor little dreamy writers. And somehow he got me to do this. When I was born, the doctors told my parents I would never walk. And I have to do this disclaimer. There's no shame in not walking, using a wheelchair, a walker, crutches. But I was born before the ADA, hard to believe, but I was. So my dad was determined to teach me how to walk. And his mantra was, you can do it. Yes, you can. And the can attitude does not mean, oh, I just saw Jennifer Atalla. She in this class, like one of my like friends I've known for like 2 decades is in here somehow. Anyway, what's stopping people from being able to climb stairs? It's like a physical impossibility. But can is about, you have to try. And then you see, if you can't, you move on. And that was kind of the entry to my book, which is Find Another Dream.
Right.
Find Another Dream isn't about, you can do it no matter what. It's, if your dream turns into a nightmare, find another dream. But to complete the circle of parents and cheerleaders and how I got here, my dad cheered me on. He supported me. He rooted for me. He put alcohol on my knee if I scraped it, or like Neosporin, I guess now, but they used to put rubbing alcohol.
You put it in your mouth if you scraped it.
No, I'm Muslim. I'm Muslim.
True point.
Yeah, I'm Muslim. So I'm speaking. No, but my mom was a tyrant, and she made me do anything my non-disabled sisters did. You should have been able to just sit with your pain, but it wasn't an option. She was highly, highly critical. And that's what set me up to be a success in the job I do now, because nobody's criticism even comes close to her. I know how to take criticism. And I think that's the most important thing for a writer. You have to know how to listen to criticism and then figure out what do you brush off and toss and what do you implement. Because there are some valid criticisms that you yourself will never be able to impose. If you're criticizing me on something that I'm an expert on, I'm probably not going to take you seriously if, like, you know, you're a 24-year-old white boy telling me about Gaza. I'm writing a comic book series for Scholastic right now called Book of Bayan. It's for 10 to 12-year-olds, middle grade. And the criticism I got was the same criticism I get on everything. You need to give your character a range of emotions. She can't just be funny, sarcastic, and mean. And I'm like, really? Because that's me. So when I get those notes, I'm like, yeah, they're right. I'm missing something that gives it depth. And one of the biggest like criticisms that changed my life, changed how I work, was I did a show in San Jose called Watermark. It was this amazing conference in the before time. In the before time, we used to gather by the 10,000, by the 10,000 in conference centers. So I was speaking and Reese Witherspoon was speaking. And I got off stage and she was like, you are dope. I want to work with you. And it was Reese's company, Hello Sunshine, that published my memoir. And I hated it because I'm a stand-up comic and we lie. That's our job. We exaggerate. We're hyperbolic. We lie. Also, I'm the daughter of conservative Muslim parents and I lie to them. So like writing a memoir was almost impossible because like my you know, Arab girls don't date, we get married. So I have like 5 chapters on men who stole my stuff. And I had to be like, if I was dating, these would be my stories. But I wasn't really, but I was. And then like, I sold the sitcom to ABC television and absolutely no fault of ABC. I had a producer from hell, like a cartoonist, cisgendered, able-bodied, straight white man who just destroyed my dream. The man who destroyed my life is named Todd, and George Carlin has an incredible bit about men named Todd. But basically, this guy hijacked my show and wanted to make it into inspiration porn, which is when disabled people inspire non-disabled people by being so pathetic, we make you feel better about yourselves. And I couldn't tell that story the way that I wanted to, because they were like, they will sue you. You can't publish it, even though it's true, because this is going to take 3 years. So also, I'm not old enough to write a memoir. You can take your actual stories. This was the best note, in addition to me not showing emotion. My character in my book, Giving Nothing Away, she has a 10-year-old crush, a South Asian 10-year-old that she has a crush on. And my editor sent me a note and she was like, I'm really concerned about the main character's crush because it seems toxic. He's like a narcissist jerk who never pays attention to her, and I can't figure out why she's pursuing him. I have imposed my own toxic relationship on a 10-year-old. So that was like one of my favorite notes. You can take dark shit from your real life and put it in fiction and people think it's fake. And if you put that in your memoir, you're that person for the rest of your life. Like, luckily, you keep your private life private. So every joke I did was based on my life, but always like an inch removed, except for the stuff about my dad, which was all 100% real. I never had to like fudge or move that stuff around because it was just so like poetic, perfect, hilarious, entertaining in reality. So when I started writing my Scholastic comic book, I banged it out in 1 month and I had never written a children's book before. And I like handed it to my editors and they were like, okay, so this is better than like the 10th draft of what most people do. So it's terrible. I don't get writer's block because my writing is connected to money. So my cerebral palsy makes me shake all the time. So I can't type. I write the entire story in my head. And then I have a personal assistant, writing assistant, and she works 9 to 3. I used to tour 200 days a year.
Wow.
And she and I would work about 3 days a week, 2 hours when we could find the time. During the pandemic, I put her on full time. Yeah, 200 days and 200 flights. Like sometimes I would take 4 or 5 flights a day. It was out of control. One time, so I'm looking at someone that popped up in the chat. One time I had a show in Kuwait that ended at 10 p.m. I got on a 2 a.m. flight. I landed 10:30 local time in Washington State and had an 8:30 a.m. show at Microsoft the next day. And so I brought her on full time and I have to pay her. And so the way that I don't have writer's block is if I'm paying her, I can't possibly waste that time. So I just I push through. And my writing style is that I lay it down first. So I just literally like dictate the entire story. I'm like beginning, middle, end, this is the story. Then I go back and I fill in the dialogue. Then I go back and I make the dialogue super funny. Then I go back and I kill at least 3 characters because you always write more than you need and you need to like get rid of them, save them for another story. I'm also missing the gene where I hate everything I write.
Yeah,
I read my stuff and I'm like, this is hilarious. I love this. But I do have a problem finding endings to stories. Like everything is a TV show in my mind, so it just keeps going.